I got a 2010 Mini Cooper in the shop today. The customer said it has a check engine light. It seems to be driving fine. Well, I've already put a battery maintainer on it and plugged up the scan tool and pulled the codes. And this is the code I found, 2F07. Okay, a 2F07 is basically a thermostat code. And this is the description. This is when the engine monitors it. Terminal 15, possible causes, thermostat physically seized. Replace thermostat. There's not a whole lot of information for these in the code criteria. The customer may comment that the temperature rises slowly. From what I understand, these are, and I've never replaced one of these, but these are a whole housing. And I read a little bit, and basically these thermostats on these have a heater in them to where when you're at cruising speeds, they want to keep the thermostat closed more so the engine stays hotter for emissions. When your engine's hotter, it burns off the impurities in the gasoline, and it's better for emissions. So, you know, they just basically, the computer in the car wants to control how hot and how cold the engine gets for various reasons, but mostly for emissions. So basically this code is just saying that, you know, it's not functioning correctly. That the thermostat basically, I mean, it doesn't give me a lot of information, but from what I've read a little bit off camera. The thermostat housing has to be replaced because the thermostat is built into the thermostat housing, and there's wires inside of the thermostat housing itself. I actually read that on service data. So, but something very interesting I found on my scan tool is there's a guided test that we can do. This is a Think Tool Pros. And actually it lets you download a file to do a guided test, which I thought was very interesting. So that's when I stopped and I started filming. I thought this would make a cool video. So this is as far as I've gotten, and I've already downloaded the file on my scan tool. It's real easy. You just hit a button that says, do you want to download the file? I hit yes. And I picked up the camera, and here we are. So I want to finish diagnosing this with you guys, and if we do a repair, I'll probably film some of that too. So here we go. So there's something really neat I wanted to show you that I have available on this scan tool. It's a fault guidance. So when you hit this, and then it basically knows the codes that are in the computer, and this is the one we're after, the thermostat map, and then you open it. And this is really cool. It's like something that's within the scan tool that not all scan tools have. And it just says what the possible causes and the fault. This is, from what I understand, a guided test. So we want to check the thermostat map. So we want to hit F3. Okay, if the thermostat is okay, thermostat operate during warm-up. So basically that just wants you to operate it during a warm-up cycle, and if it's closed it should increase, and if it's in control it should no longer increase. It's pretty straightforward. So I guess we will do that test. So everybody knows that a thermostat should get up to, at least, you know, your engine coolant should get up to around 200 degrees, you know, give or take 10 degrees. I've seen them be happy at 190. I've seen them go to 220 and go back down when the fan kicks on. You just never know what the manufacturer requires. I wish I can find that information. Maybe I'll read a little bit more to see what the thermostat. Actually, I did find something that said it likes it to be at 221 when you're at cruising speeds. That's a little bit of information that may help us out. But I think the first thing to do is just see if it gets up to temperature, like 190 to 200. I mean, that's pretty well where most thermostats should go. I've seen Some do 185 and be happy there, but usually around 190 to 200 where an engine really likes to be. Now, like I said, this has that control thermostat thing on it, so I really don't know when it should be at a temperature at what time. From what I read, it just says it takes into consideration the outside temperature, the intake air temperature. So I don't even think I'm going to be able to find that information. So I don't want to go too far down a rabbit hole. I just want to see if this thermostat's working like it should. You know, if the engine just doesn't get hot like it should, we know there's an issue with the thermostat, more than likely. So let's just go back, get into the data, exit out of here, read data. Let's see what it has. Oxygen, voltage, temperature values. Let's see what that gives us. I guess that's most likely the temperature sending unit. Looks like the only data PID we have for that. So let's just see if this thing heats up like it should. Okay, we're in the car. I'm gonna just put it on graph mode. This is the temperature. This is a graph. Let it heat up. Okay, we're at about 86. It's starting to rise. Okay, one thing I want to do is check the thermostat housing inlet and outlet hose. And if the thermostat's stuck open, that they should be about the same temperature. If the thermostat should be closed till you get around 170, 190, somewhere, and it starts to open up. So I want to see if it's stuck open. So 113. So it's flowing coolant already through the radiator. I don't know why it's flowing coolant already. It seems like it's stuck open to me. We're at 132. I'm gonna hold the RPM down, try to get it warmed up. It's already flowing coolant through the radiator. Not sure it should be doing that already. Coolant should not be flowing until the thermostat is opening around, like I said, 170, 190, depending on the manufacturer. You can see we are at 156. The only thing that should flow coolant all the time is your heater core, because they want you to circulate, get heat in your car quick. So I'm gonna sit here and let this thing run for about 10 minutes and just see what the temperature gets up to, and I'll bring you right back. All right, I called the customer and they approved the thermostat. It's obviously just opening up immediately. So I'll start taking that apart and I'll try to film some of that. I know it's kind of in a tight spot. Don't know how much I'll be able to film, but we'll just go from there. And also it needs an oil change, which it's not too exciting to show on a video, so I may not show that either. But I'll show some of the repair. That way, if you're doing this, I'll highlight maybe some of the spots that you need to look at. So yeah, let's just do that and go from there. First thing you want to do is drain the coolant. I don't see a drain anywhere, so I'm just going to let this hose loose and drain it from there. I just took this pipe loose and it drained out. It kind of makes a mess, so get you a bucket. Take off the turbo inlet hose, the PVC fresh air hose, and the brake vacuum hose. I think that's what that is. That goes to the vacuum pump. So take it off. There's a clip there, and then it unclips there, and unclips here. So let's get all that off. Okay, got those pipes off. Now I'm going to take off this coolant reservoir and this air breather right here. So I have the breather off, the reservoir off, Now there's this big wiring harness in the way. I'm not sure how that actually comes up. It looks like there's a clip down in here and I can pull it up, so I'll probably have to unplug this. Let me finagle it a little bit and then I'll bring you back. So you got to unclip this little tab right there. My flashlight's touching it. I pulled back the clip with this and it pulled off of this. So you can pull this up. Now the issue is it's hitting these hoses here. So these are just vacuum lines, and one goes to the wastegate actuator and one looks like it goes to the actual vacuum pump, and they just pull off, just twist them. So now you can get these out of the way. So it's just kind of like peeling back the onion. Let me see if I can get this up to go up further. It looks like these two wires, one is plugged in here and the other one's plugged in right there. So unplug those and you'll get these two wires out of your way. This plug right here that was way back in there, it looks like this. There's two tabs you gotta push in on both sides, and it's a pain to get off. I had to use a pair of these and a screwdriver. So I've got it pulled up as far as I can get it without this wire coming loose or having to take this one loose, and I'm not digging down and taking all these wires off. But that gives us enough room to get in there. It's hard to film, but I think there's only 3 screws. Let me show you the one that I got from the parts store. That way you can get a better visual. And you gotta take off all these hoses. All those hoses you see there have to come off. So it sets in, there's 3 bolts that hold it on. It sets in there like this. I'm suspecting that this is going to be the hard one to get off. There's a clip that you pull up to take that off, so let's do that first if I can get to it. But this way you can get a better visual of what you're doing. It sets like this on the side of the engine block or on the back of the engine block. Well, we got to take these 2 lines off here and here and peel them back before we can get to the hose way back in there. So let me do that and I'll bring you back. Okay, so the next thing is just take off all these hoses. There's 4 of them, and then you can get to this back hose. Okay, I took the DME out, which is also known as the engine computer. Here it is. You just unplug it and slide it out. Now I had a really hard time getting it out. I had to kind of finagle and put a screwdriver in behind and pry around. I took the wires off and fold them back. It was kind of a pain in the butt, but that way it'll give you more room to work with this out of your way, because this is going to be a pain. Okay, so I got these 2 hoses here and here out of the way. They're a big pain in the butt. If you look, there's a clip. I'll try to get you down in here. See that clip sticking up right there? You have to pull that up, and then once you unbolt this housing, it should just pull back. So that's the theory anyway. Let's hope that works. So I'm gonna try that now. I'm gonna spray it down with some lube to give it the best, you know, pop it off the easiest as we can. This is what the clip looks like when you take it off. So if you look at this, this is how it sets on there. You can see the 3 bolt holes. You can't hardly see the 2 bottom ones here on the sides while it's in the car, but this will help you visualize where they're at. Okay, so I got the part off and I'm looking at the parts and they don't match. And this is so aggravating. This is why I don't like European cars. I matched the part number up and everything. But as you can see, I'll show you. This is the one that come off the vehicle, and this is what the temperature sending unit looks like on this one, and this is the new one. And it just looks different. It's a lot smaller. So you can tell this one's different, that's different. And also this plug's different. This one's real small. And this one's a little bit bigger. So anyway, I ordered another one. It'll be here in the morning. And so when I turn the next clip will be tomorrow morning. Okay, we got the right part this time. So this one, if you go to order one of these, this is the original, this is the one that fits, and this is the one that don't fit. And how you can tell is this sensor's different. The plug-in is a lot smaller than this one, so that's something you might want to look at when you go to order it. Hopefully if you watch this video, it'll save you some time and it'll help you out. So just transfer over your temperature sending unit. You just pull this out, pop that out, pop it in over here. Okay, when you go to put this in, that back crossover pipe, it's kind of hard to get the clip popped in that you took out when you took it off. So just to make sure you have it popped in, I had to take a camera down and you could see it right there. You can see that it's popped in to the groove. That's the back side. You can see the other side of the clip visually, but this inside part you can't really see visually. You may be able to get down there with a mirror or your cell phone, but make sure that thing's popped in right, because you do not want to have to take this thing all the way back apart because of a leak. Okay, I got it all back together. Make sure you put your air breather in before you put this in and make it easier. And I got a vacuum gauge. It's pulling a vacuum. This is not a vacuum gauge, but this fills up your antifreeze, and you fill it up. I pull a vacuum on it, so it's holding a vacuum. And you don't have to have this, but if you work on cars every day, you want it because it's faster. So I just turn this lever and it'll suck up the antifreeze. So here we go. So I'm gonna let that fill up and we'll start it up. Okay, I'm gonna start it up. Here we go. And nothing. Well, maybe I should put the key in it. All right, I'm gonna let it sit here and warm up and see what happens. Okay, we got a green tree except for this. Some rear window heater relay, don't know what that is. All right guys, I just got back from the test drive and it is doing fine. It's heating up like it should. I'll show you the temperature. Before it wouldn't get past 190. Now we're already up to 210. I'm gonna scan it one more time. I'm gonna let it sit here and idle a little bit, make sure there's no leaks, and rescan it. It's been idling a while and it's staying rock steady at 221. That's exactly where you want it to be. If you remember earlier in the video, it said that it goes into control, the heater inside the thermostat goes into control at 221. So it's staying right at 221. No leaks, Underneath it, nothing. If you've made it this far, I really appreciate you all watching. Check out some of my other videos right here. And I just make these videos because I know how hard it is working on cards. If I find something that might help somebody else, that's all I really want to do. So thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.